Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolf Pit with another episode of What Are We Eating? Today we're going over Tina's Big Beef and Bean Burrito, Tina's Big Spicy Beef and Bean Chimichanga, and Tina's Big Red Hot Beef Burrito. Each burrito and chimichanga weighs 8 ounces and costs $1.24. So let's go over the Big Beef and Bean Burrito first, which out of 106 ratings received 3.2 stars out of 5. Here's the list of ingredients. The whole Big Beef and Bean Burrito has 740 calories, 36 grams of total fat, 13 grams of saturated fat, 1 gram of trans fat, 40 milligrams of cholesterol, 880 milligrams of sodium, 86 grams of carbohydrates, 4 grams of fiber, 4 grams of sugars, and 18 grams of protein. Now let's get our Big Beef and Bean Burrito out of the plastic and onto a tray. Now for the Big Spicy Beef and Bean Chimichanga. Now I know it looks like it says Chimichanga, but I've always called them Chimichangas, and that's what I've heard other people call them as well. So what is it? Are they Chimichangas or Chimichangas? Whatever they're really called, out of 88 ratings, they received 3.1 stars out of 5. Here's the list of ingredients. The whole chimichanga has 690 calories, 35 grams of total fat, 12 grams of saturated fat, 1 gram of trans fat, 35 milligrams of cholesterol, 1,120 milligrams of sodium, 77 grams of carbohydrates, 5 grams of fiber, 4 grams of sugars, and 17 grams of protein. Now let's get our chimichanga out of the package and onto the tray. Finally, for the Tina's Big Red Hot Beef Burrito, that out of 165 ratings received 3.4 stars out of 5. Here's the list of ingredients. The whole burrito has 760 calories, 36 grams of total fat, 13 grams of saturated fat, 1 gram of trans fat, 40 milligrams of cholesterol, 1,210 milligrams of sodium, 88 grams of carbohydrates, 5 grams of fiber, 4 grams of sugars, and 20 grams of protein. Now let's get it out of the package and onto the tray. And then these go into the oven at 350 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes. But if you don't want to wait 30 to 40 minutes for your burritos or chimichanga to be ready, you can wrap them in a paper towel and cook for 1.5 minutes per side, which is what we did to hold us over until the oven versions are ready. Starting off with the Big Beef and Bean Burrito. So let's get it unwrapped from the paper towel, cut it in half, see what it looks like, and then give it a try. So after we cut it in half, it was still piping hot. So we had to play a little hot burrito with it. Then once we were able to grasp it tightly, into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. Sometimes when microwaving frozen burritos, the tortilla will get overcooked and get hard. But that's not the case with these tortillas. They were nice and soft and delicious. And another thing about frozen burritos is a lot of times they'll be almost double wrapped in tortilla to where it's twice as much tortilla to filling. Again, that's not the case with this burrito. And frozen burritos are notorious for not having enough filling in them. Or they have filling all in one end and none on the other. That's certainly not the case with this burrito. There was a mouthful of almost delicious beef and beans in every bite. And the reason I say almost delicious was because they used way too much cumin. I love cumin, and the amount you use can make or break a dish. The amount they used was simply overwhelming in this burrito. But some people might like that strong cumin flavor. But other than that, this was a super solid burrito. And you, the people, always hear me, the person, moan and groan about TVP. But this is one of those instances that works really well. And I'm giving Tina's Big Beef and Bean Burrito a 7 out of 10. Now here's our Big Spicy Beef and Bean Chimichanga after microwaving for a total of 3 minutes. So let's get it unwrapped, cut in half, and get it into my pie hole. Now the chimichanga looks extra stuffed and extra juicy. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. Holy chimichanga, Batman, that was delicious. It was very flavorful, very meaty, spicy, and the corn tortilla was fantastic. And again, the tortilla to filling ratio is in favor of the filling. There's a mouthful of filling in every bite, and the tortilla was cooked absolutely perfect. Nice and soft throughout, no hard overcooked spots. And I'm giving Tina's Big Spicy Beef and Bean Chimichanga an 8 out of 10. Now let's unwrap and cut into our big red hot beef burrito after microwaving on high for a total of 3 minutes. And just like the previous burrito and chimichanga, there's a lot of filling in these. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. And this one definitely has a little bit of kick to it. That's why it's called the red hot beef burrito. But it's an enjoyable heat. It's not too spicy to enjoy. The tortilla was nice and soft and there wasn't too much of it. There was plenty of delicious and well-seasoned filling. And I'm giving Tina's Big Red Hot Beef Burrito an 8 out of 10. Now here's our burritos and chimichanga after baking in a 350-degree oven for 35 minutes. Let's cut into them and see how they taste compared to the ones cooked in the microwave. Now let's try the big beef and bean burrito first. And again, lots of filling, but it doesn't look as juicy as the ones cooked in the microwave. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. Now I certainly prefer the tortilla that was cooked in the microwave much better than I did the one in the oven. This one cooked in the oven is a little too firm and dry for me. And again, it was nice to have more filling than tortilla. But in the case of this beef and bean burrito, the seasoning is just way off and is overpowered by the cumin flavor, which is why I'm giving Amy's big beef and bean burrito cooked in the oven a 6 out of 10. Now for the spicy beef and bean chimichanga. And look at all that filling coming out of it. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. And that right there is a straight up example of pure deliciousness, with plenty of well-seasoned, delicious filling, with just the right amount of tortilla to hold everything together. And although on this one, I did prefer the tortilla cooked in the oven over the one cooked in the microwave, but it wasn't that much better to boost it from an 8 to a 9, so I'm giving Tina's Big Spicy Beef and Bean Chimichanga an 8 out of 10. And last but not least, we have Tina's Big Spicy Beef Burrito. And once again, there's lots of well-seasoned, delicious filling, and a little bit spicy filling, but again, I much prefer the microwave tortilla over the oven tortilla. So I'm giving Tina's Big Spicy Beef Burrito a 7 out of 10. I don't think you can go wrong with either burrito or chimichanga, unless like me, you don't like a couple buckets of cumin in your burrito. But other than that, for 8 ounces of food for $1.24, you can't go wrong. And if you think about it, they're a bigger bargain than you really thought they were. Because for $1.24, it's like a 2-for-1 deal. You get dinner, and later on in the evening, you get a concert. Thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.